Night Swim is a 2024 supernatural horror film written and directed by Bryce McGuire in his feature directorial debut. The movie is produced by James Wan and Jason Blum under their Atomic Monster and Blumhouse Productions banner, respectively. This is the first film from those two companies to be released following both companies' merger on January 2nd, 2024. Now, the concept of this film comes from Bryce McGuire himself back in 2014, in which he wrote and directed a low-budget 5-minute short film titled Night Swim in collaboration with his friend Rod Blackhurst. He filmed this short in the backyard of musician Michelle Branch's home. The movie runs for 98 minutes long, had a budget of $15 million, and stars Wyatt Russell and Kerry Condon. It tells the story of the Waller family who move into a new home and find out that the swimming pool in their backyard is haunted. A backyard swimming pool that's haunted. What kind of interesting concept could you come up with? Well, you get Night Swim. It's an interesting aspect and take of what a horror film can be, a haunted swimming pool. Original, great story, but let me tell you what's interesting and not interesting about it. The movie starts off in the summer of 1992, and we see a young Asian girl by the name of Rebecca Summers who goes out to the pool in order to retrieve a toy boat that evidently her brother lost. Before she goes out to the swimming pool, she goes into her brother's room, and we see that he's on a machine. He's laying in a hospital bed. We understand that he's sick. And as Rebecca passes by her mother's room, we see that the aide that helps out tells Mrs. Summers that, hey, I'm leaving. Do you need me to stay? And she's like, no, go. So Rebecca goes out to the swimming pool, tries to retrieve the toy boat, but then gets pulled under. She comes up to the surface, sees her mother at the surface, and then comes up, and then she's not there. She gets pulled under again. And the lights to the swimming pool flicker on and off, flicker on and off. It turns off, and it flickers on, and then that's it. Fast forward, we're not given how many years later, but we see the Waller family moving into this home after looking for a home to move into. We see that Ray Waller, played by Wyatt Russell, is a major league baseball player and plays for the Milwaukee Brewers in third base. Now, he is out on leave because he has a condition. He has MS. Now, we see that the reason they picked this home is because it has a swimming pool and he can do water therapy in order to, get back to the aspect of the basics that he was in and be that all-star that he wants to be. He convinces his wife Eve to help out. Not only that, Izzy, the daughter, and then we have Elliot. We also see the aspect of what happens to Ray as the movie progresses. He gets possessed by this swimming pool. And it's like, what is going on? What's happening? Every single family member has an experience with this swimming pool. Eve has an experience by having the lights flicker on and off. She sees something, she doesn't see something. And Izzy kind of is in the pool with her boyfriend, playing Marco Polo, which you see in the trailer of this movie. And we know what happens with that if you've seen the trailer. And then we see Elliot, who... this one scene is 15 minutes long, and it just is focused on him. The weakest character in this, I want to say, is the son, Elliot, but he is doing certain things that it's like he's very scared. He has social anxiety, and explains why he is. Izzy is the older sister that watches her brother. It's really, really good to see that an older sister is watching their younger brother. Now Ray is just possessed, absolutely possessed. He wants the swimming pool. He swims in the swimming pool, and Eve is trying to figure out what's going on. Kerry Condon gives a phenomenal performance in this. You've seen her in The Banshees of Inisherin, and Wyatt Russell is coming into his own behind his father's footsteps, Kurt Russell, and doing television series and even movies for that matter. The aspect of what this movie is very interesting. I want to say it's Poltergeist meets the Amityville Horror meets Pet Sematary meets Insidious. Now, the reason I say that it meets all this is because it's Poltergeist because of what the home or the swimming pool, the land that it's on, if you know what I mean. It's not a cemetery. I will say that. It's not a cemetery at all. The Amityville aspect, horror aspect to it is that Ray Waller is possessed. He has a beard, and he kind of looks like the character that Ryan Reynolds plays and that James Brolin played in the original. Pet Cemetery aspect is there because it features a cat in this who evidently, is gone and dead. And the fourth aspect of is Insidious, where someone is sick and somehow the possession takes over them. You put all those four films that I mentioned, Poltergeist, the Amityville Horror, Pet Cemetery, and Insidious, you throw some water in the blender, no pun intended, you blend it up, you get Night Swim. Knowing the history of what this story is in the movie is really what makes it. I wanted it to get to the point much sooner. Expanding a short film from 5 minutes into 98 minutes does take a lot of courage to do. Now, back in the day, we had a summer blockbuster movie called Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg, which made you not want to go into the water in the ocean because of sharks. If you have a fear of water, if you have a fear of thalassophobia, and if you have a fear of the dark and deep parts of the ocean and the unknown, this film will bring out those fears and those phobias in you. You won't want to go into a swimming pool after seeing this film. Absolutely not. The movie just plays mind tricks on you. Is it scary? No. They pay off with subtle jump scares that aren't effective at all. But for me, and knowing the history of what happens, and even what happened in the beginning of the film to Rebecca Summers, the little Asian girl, and how her mother knows about the history, what happened, and then how the son got better, it's really, really interesting. This was a interesting movie. It just took a while for it to get built up. Now, for what it was, the supernatural presence, it's there. You can see the practical makeup effects that work. The CGI of the water is kind of here nor there, but it works in a way where it's water, it's swimming pool, and what else could you want in this? This was an interesting film, and it's the first new horror film of 2024. I always love to check out horror films in January because it's a hit or a miss. They always put new horror films at the beginning of every single year. I feel like it doesn't do anything because nobody goes to see it. If you take a horror film and put it maybe in March or April, kind of the spring, summer, maybe this could have worked in the summertime with swimming pools, and it could have had a bigger kind of following. But putting this in January, I mean, it just didn't work. More power to Bryce McGuire for being that filmmaker who put his film on YouTube, gained notoriety, went viral, and then the vice president of Atomic Monster showed it to James Wan, and James Wan's like, I want that, let me get the rights, let's make this into a feature, and I'm pretty sure he gave it to Jason Blum, and then here you are, you have Night Swim. All the ideas and your best ideas come from short horror films or short films, and you expand it into a feature-length movie. Just like Lights Out with David F. Sandberg, but this is much more on a different aspect. The subtlety of it was good, but not great. It was slow going at times. The buildup was there. But when you find out what happens, it's like, oh, that's kind of the Poltergeist story. That's not that... It's kind of, you'll see what I mean when you check out Night Swim, if you check out Night Swim. For me, Night Swim gets 2 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Night Swim. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about the aspect of the story, knowing that it's based on a 2014 short film? Did you like the concept of it? Do you like that it's a haunted swimming pool? Did you ever think that a horror movie could feature a haunted swimming pool? What did you like about knowing the explanation of the origin of this haunted swimming pool and what happens to every single person that is in it? I mean, the explanation is very quick, and if you miss it, if you go to the bathroom, or if you step away, if you're talking, you will miss what the story is. So don't do any of that if you really want to pay attention to it. This movie is a hit or miss with some, but if you're a supernatural horror fan like myself and support the horror genre, you will go out, you will see it. So let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked about Night Swim, and also let me know what rating you would give this movie. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new review videos on my channel. I will see you all in the next review video. I'm Mr. Filmstock, and thank you so much for tuning in.